What's up, Yogi Warriors? Welcome to today's Stretchy yoga practice. Today we're practicing a type of yoga that you might hear or see referred to as yin. In men's yoga transformation, I call this the reset and release phase, and you'll see the difference between those two things as we get into this practice. What this is all about is resetting our nervous system from stress. Not even just to calm, but into a coherent, centered, balanced state, right in between the two, where you can be adaptable, response able, rather than reactive or so tired that you just can't get yourself up to do anything. Two, this is about releasing what we're holding on to, that tightness in your body, but also mentally and emotionally. And I give you a little power tool in here called the observing self that you can take with you forever. Enjoy this practice, and once you get to the end, drop in the comments and let me know how you feel at the end of it. What's up, my friends? Let's begin today's practice on our bellies, making our way flat, your way flat, down to your stomach in whatever way feels right for you. And once you get there, pressing down into the tops of your feet, from big toe to pinky toe, feeling that opens up your hips. Resting your head on the back of your hands. Imagine breathing your rib cage up away from your hips. And then as you exhale, we're going to make a little metal singer or cat vomit sound, a little to help us pull the front ribs in, back, towards our spine. Laying down on the front of your rib cage. Start with just gently drawing your breath out just a tiny bit longer and deeper than usual. Feeling your belly expanding to the mat as you inhale. Relaxing as you exhale. Breathing long and deep without any force or tension. Start to pull your breath into the back of your rib cage. Like the back of your ribs were a hot air balloon that could expand up towards the sky. Without any tension or strain in your neck and shoulders. You should start to feel that, just making your breath a little bit more shallow. Imagining your breath like a wave flowing up. And then down through your ribs, your belly, all the way down to your toes. Pulling that wave up through your belly, your ribs, like you could pull it up to the top of your head without any strain. And sending that wave back out. Even holding for a moment on that full exhale before drawing out your out breath. When you're ready, slide your hands underneath your shoulders like you're going to do a push-up. Grounding your palms down into the mat. Grounding just means they're contacting the ground. Pressing down into your pointer finger ball mount. That's your under knuckle. Feel how that might work the front of your shoulders a little bit. And pressing down into your pinky finger ball mount, the outer under knuckle. You might feel a little activation in the outside, the back of your shoulders. Breathing your ribcage up away from your hips. Sending your right arm out to the side to a T. Grounding your right palm. You might decide to move your right hand up or down depending on how your chest, how your shoulders feel here. Taking a few breaths in that space, and when you are ready, taking a big inhale as you start to roll onto the right hand side, and exhale to sweep your left leg over the top of the right. You can even ground your left foot into the ground mat here. No pain, no pinpoint pain or anything like that inside of your right shoulder joint. You can either take a little pillow, cushion, or even just your left hand underneath your head to keep your neck as neutral as possible. And before we totally release into this, we're going to take 3 activate and release breaths like I teach in MYT, just to speed up the process a tiny bit. As you inhale, pressing down with your right arm into the mat, activating. Holding your breath just for a moment. Relaxing as you draw out your out breath. Breathing in, activating, pressing down into your right arm. Holding for a moment, expanding the top side of your rib cage. Drawing out your out breath as you relax into it. One more time. Breathing in, activating. Holding. Letting everything go. Just settling back into your ocean breath. That wave rolling in and out. You can always deepen into this by reaching your left arm back behind you. If you're not ready for that, that's okay. Just imagining taking a little piece of your awareness, that thing that is paying attention and knowing, just placing it outside of your body like an elf on a shelf. Maybe even on the left side of your rib cage. This little part of you just watches, noticing the sensations in your body, lengthening, maybe any tingling and numbness. And when you are ready, gently releasing back to your belly, coming back to the tadpole position that we began today in, withholding your urge to move or react in any way, and just watching. What sensations do you notice now? So often we rush through life without pausing to notice the effects of what we're doing. And if you want to take a little bit of movement, if you want to roll into your shoulders, or even take a little shoulder roll like I'm about to do here, yeah, I invite you to do that. Returning back to your tadpole. And then that push-up position with your hands. Grounding into the mat. Taking a few breaths here. Like you can breathe your ribcage up away from your hips. And sending your left arm out to a T, grounding through your left palm. As you inhale to start rolling onto your right hand side, and exhale, stepping your right leg over the top of the left. Ground the sole of your right foot into the mat here. Remember, we're staying out of pain, any pain inside the left shoulder joint or elbow. We just release out of the stretch just enough to get out of that pain. Discomfort is normal. You can always take that pillow or your hand and support your head here. Taking 3 of those activate and release breaths, inhaling to press down into your left arm. Holding for a moment, breathing to the right side of your rib cage, relaxing, drawing out your out breath. Breathing in, activating, holding, keeping your neck and shoulders relaxed, and exhaling, relaxing. One more breath, inhaling, pressing down, expanding the right side of your rib cage, holding, relaxing, drawing out your exhale. We're just settling into this one for the long haul. Coming back to your ocean breath if you want that progression. Taking the liberty to reach your right hand back behind you. That awareness elf just watching the sensations through your left shoulder, chest, your arm, back and ribs. My little awareness elf says 2 magical words. It's all that it can say. That's interesting. The little awareness self is big on non-judgment. Just self-acceptance. That's interesting. Noticing the thoughts that come up when you're deep in the discomfort. That's interesting. When you are ready, gently releasing back to your belly, coming back to your tadpole. Resting your head on the back of your hands. And just watching the after effect of that open wing. Whenever you're ready, feel free to take a little bit of movement. Maybe that's some shoulder rolls. Maybe you reach your right arm out overhead and take a little back roll, reaching your left arm up and over to the right hand side of the mat, taking a little shoulder roll here. Before releasing back down to the mat, re-grounding your palms in push-up position. Grounding the balls of the fingers, pointer finger to pinky finger. Using the strength of your arms to pull and breathe your ribs up away from your hips. And imagining a string connected to your tailbone through the top of your head, pulling you up away from your hips, and then up towards the sky into a little baby cobra. Taking 3 ocean breaths here into your belly, the back of your ribs, stretching your chest open, and imagining sliding your shoulder blades away from each other around the sides of your rib cage. And after all 3 breaths, releasing back down to the mat and sitting your butt back towards your heels into a little child's pose. When you get there, using your hands to unbunch any bunched up skin, any flesh in the knees, the shins. Walking your hands back out overhead, taking a big inhale. Exhaling as you stretch the mat apart between your knees. Feel your hips. Taking another big in-breath. As you exhale, zipping your front ribs in as you lay down over your thighs. Child's pose is a great place to find some stability and strength and alignment in our shoulders, grounding through the balls of your fingers, creeping your fingertips out overhead even, finding more length and traction through your shoulders. Imagining as you ground through the balls of your fingers, doming your arms like you could dome your elbows, finding depth in the shoulder joint. And notice how there might be a little bit more length there. Maybe your arms can get longer. Imagining a rubber band pulling your elbows together. Press out, stretch that rubber band. Feeling the underarms, all that stability in the shoulders now. Now reaching your right arm out to the right hand side to a T. Keeping that length and depth. And exhale to walk your right arm or slide it across to the left hand side of the mat underneath your left underarm. Grounding the back of your right arm into the mat. We'll thread the needle here. Just like we did in open wing, we'll take 3 activate and release breaths. Inhaling, pressing down into the ground like you're trying to deepen the twist. Holding for a moment like you could puff up into the back of your ribs. And exhaling, wiggling into it. You might even try to look over to the right, stretching your right shoulder a little bit more. And maybe you can reach further through this twist. Inhaling, pressing down. Holding for a moment, puffing up your ribs. And exhaling, releasing into it. One more time. And then just settling into that, thread the needle. Back to your ocean breath. The awareness self, noticing all the sensations you feel in this posture. Imagining that the core of the earth is pulling your whole body down, just a little bit more gravity. Feeling like you're almost going to take a nap here. Oh. It's all about relaxing deeper through the breath and the just sheer amount of time that we spend in these postures. When you are ready, I invite you to inhale, releasing your right arm, walking it back out to the right hand side. And then out overhead to child's pose. Just resting in this posture for a moment without moving. Just notice the after effect of this posture. What do you feel here? And then if it feels right for you, bring in a little organic movement. Maybe you're grounding through your palms, taking some twists through your torso. And maybe you want something totally different. That's cool too. When you're ready, grounding through your right palm as you walk your left arm out to the side to a T. And exhale, sliding your left arm to the right side of the mat underneath your right underarm. Taking this, thread the needle. Pressing the back of your left arm down into the mat. And as you inhale, pressing down into the mat with your left arm, like you could deepen this twist. Holding for a moment, feeling the ribcage expanded, and then exhaling, relaxing everything. Even looking out towards your left side, deepening the stretch into your left shoulder. Maybe you can thread a little bit further through after that breath. Inhaling, pressing down, deepening your twist. Holding just for a moment, puffing up into the back ribs. And exhaling, relaxing everything. And one more activate and release breath. Inhaling, pressing down. Holding relaxed through the neck and shoulders for the moment. And exhaling, releasing into it. Coming back to your ocean breath here. Feeling the core of the earth weighing you down like a magnet. Feeling that ocean breath flowing through your belly, your ribs, maybe even up to your fingertips. Your awareness elf, noticing what's happening in your thoughts and your mind as you're in this posture, this discomfort, this stillness. That's interesting. Seeing if you can relax, release a little bit further. When you're ready, I invite you to inhale your way up and out of this, coming back to your child's pose. Actually coming back, reaching your left arm out to the left-hand side. And then returning that left arm out overhead for your child's pose. Resisting any urges to move, to wiggle, just noticing what is the after effect of threading the needle for me today. Only if you're ready, if you feel inspired to take some movement, taking whatever that is. Get some little torso twists with your palms grounded. And from this position, I invite you to start walking your hands back underneath your shoulders, grounding your forearms. I'm actually going to turn just to make this a little bit more pleasurable for myself. This is the position that we were in. Starting to slide your knees out nice and wide away from each other. Then you can either point your toes out to the sides, it's harder, or point them straight back. You get to pick. I don't want any pain in your joints, in your knees, your hips. Coming into what we might call a frog stretch. Those forearms grounded, but you can always plant your hands here if that feels better. Rocking forwards and back a little bit. Making sure you got some support underneath the knees. I don't want any pain there. You might even reach and unbunch the flesh there. Helping keeping your fascia in a nice state. If it feels right, I invite you to relax down to your forearms. Feel free to, like I said, wiggle back and forth a little bit. Even coming down to your chest here. Resting your forehead on the back of your hands. And we'll take, just like we've been doing, 3 activate and release breaths. Imagining you're facing down a hallway. Hello, bee. Bee buzzing around me. There's a wall against your right knee, a wall against your left. And as you inhale, press out into those walls. Feel your booty working. Holding your breath for a moment, that contraction, the expansion in your rib cage, and exhaling to relax. Let everything go. Feel free to rock and wiggle into it if that feels right. Maybe your knees come a little bit wider. Again, inhaling, pressing out into the walls. Feel your booty. Holding for a moment. Exhaling. Letting everything go. Taking whatever length your body wants to give you. Remember, if you get any pain inside of any joints, come out of it a little bit. It's not a competition. Tendons and ligaments, they don't go back once they're stretched. Well, they do a little bit, up to 5 to 10%, but your muscles can stretch 150% and go back, so that's what we want to stretch. One more breath here. Inhale, activate, pressing out into the walls. Holding. And exhaling. Rocking into it. Before just settling into this frog, coming back to your ocean breath. Your awareness elf, noticing the sensations in your hips, inner legs, thighs, groins. And saying to you, that's interesting. You may have heard the common saying of the body keeps the score. You may find some stored emotion, feelings in here. If you notice that, well, you know the magic words. And only when you are ready, you can release out of this one of 2 ways. One, you can walk yourself back up to forearms, and then hands, or just stand on the forearms before wiggling your legs back together. Or 2, you can lay all the way down to your belly, sliding the legs back behind you. I'm going to spin here. And coming back to your tadpole for a moment. Remember how we gently pressed down into the tops of the big and pinky toes, withholding that urge to move, just noticing what is it that you feel here. And then if you feel some kind of movement in your body right now, feel free to take that for your legs, your hips, whatever that is. And when you're ready, meeting back in child's pose. And then proceeding to pull yourself forward to hands and knees. Grounding your palms underneath your shoulders, knees under the hips. Stretch the mat apart between your knees. Feel your hips on line. Stepping your left leg back into a single leg plank. Toes dug under. Left knee lifted. Floating your right knee off of the mat. And then sweeping your right knee to the outside of your right wrist. Your right ankle towards your left wrist without using your hands. Grounding your right shin. Hello, bee, not a flower. And putting your left toes straight back, grounding your left knee. Hello, bee, still not a flower. As you inhale, pressing down into the mat to the top of your left foot, feel your left glute. Pressing down into the mat with your right shin, feel your right hip. Imagine you can resist your right leg bone back into your right hip. Feel all that stability. Take a big inhale, strong through your legs, long through your torso. And as you exhale, relax all of that. Maybe you can slide your left leg back a little bit, working deeper into your right hip. Again, if any skin feels bunched up, unbunch it. Being nice to your fascia. Inhale, press down with your legs like you could lift your arms up, long through your spine. Exhaling, relaxing, deepening into it. Inhaling, pressing down, strong and long. Exhaling to relax. If you notice that you're sagging over to one side here, take a pillow, take a blanket, put it underneath your right hip. Take that little bit of help to keep your alignment. It's more important than depth and posture for me. And if you feel right, imagine there's a string pulling your spine along to the top of your head from your tailbone. It's pulling you nice and tall as you start to hinge over at your hips, over your right shin. Maybe you bring your forearms down. Maybe you bring your head to the back of your hands like your tadpole. And coming back to your ocean breath. That awareness elf noticing the discomfort, any thoughts or emotions, energy in motion, desires to move, to wiggle. That's interesting. Seeing if you can withhold that desire to react. When you are ready, inhale, grounding into your palms, lifting your torso back up, and sitting onto your right hip. This is called the deer pose. We're just going to come through this as a little transition. You can unbunch the skin in your right knee. That left leg is back behind you, bent knee here. Untucking your right hip, so we're not slouching. Taking a big inhale, trying to lift your left leg up off of the mat. And as you exhale, sweeping your left leg around in front, making the shape of a 4. Planting the sole of your right foot against the inner edge of your left leg somewhere, anywhere, without forcing it with your hands. Unbunch the flesh of your butt, so you're sitting nice and tall. Press your hands down into the mat, sitting tall, breathing length into your spine, pressing down with your legs, strength through the legs. And as you exhale, that string pulling your spine long, hinging over your left thigh, walking your fingertips towards your left foot. Now this may be a place where you grab a towel, a belt, or even a nice little yoga strap if you have one of those. That could come underneath the arch of the left foot. Just helping giving you a little bit of leverage. Don't force yourself into it. Inhaling, pressing down through your legs, strong through the legs, long through the torso. And exhaling to relax forward over your left thigh. It's not going to look like this on day 1. It might not look like this on day 100. But it's all about the direction, moving in this direction with nice activation and alignment. Not about the destination, not about what it looks like. Inhaling, pressing down, long through the torso, strong through the legs, holding for that moment. And exhaling to relax over. One more activation breath. Inhaling, pressing down through the legs, long through the torso, holding and relaxing. Your hands might just be down on the mat by your sides. They might be on your shin, not gripping, but Just a little bit of help. That might be on your foot, not crushing it, just lightly through the fingertips. If you're far enough, you can even take one hand, fingers around the opposite wrist for a little bind here. Again, no force, don't torque yourself into it. Just enough to help hold you there. Can you breathe into your belly, your back, and the right and left side ribs and obliques evenly? And if you can't, can you find that? Relaxing your jaw. That awareness elf, just noticing all the things in the body. The mind, the emotions. That's interesting. Letting gravity just pull you down a little bit heavier. Is there any tension that you're holding on to that you can let go of? Only when you are ready. Inhaling to release, sitting nice and tall. And exhaling without moving. Just noticing the after effects of the pigeon and the head to knee here, Janu Shirshasana. When you're ready, as our movement, sitting onto your right hip, sweeping your left leg back into your deer. Just bent knees here. Placing your palms back down in front of the right thigh and sweeping back into your pigeon in whatever way you need to do that. From here, sweeping your right knee back to meet your left in tabletop. And before we move, just pausing here, notice what's the after effect of this whole complex. If you want to take any movement, any wiggles, fire hydrant circles, feel free to take that. Leaning back in your tabletop. Taking your single leg plank on the right leg, stepping your right leg back, toes dug under, right knee lifted, and sweeping your left shin through. Left knee towards your left wrist, left ankle towards your right without grabbing it. Grounding your left shin, your right knee, pointing your right toes straight back. Inhaling strength, press down with both legs, length through your torso. Hold for a moment, and as you exhale, relax everything. Maybe you can deepen into this. For me, this hip is tighter. This hip takes more gentleness, more patience, a little bit more breath. Remember, imagine you can pull your left thigh back into your left hip, giving you a little bit more stability there. Inhale, strength through the legs, length through the torso. Hold for a moment and release. Deepening into it. If you notice you're slouching here, you can always take the pillow, the blanket to help support you so that we're not over here. Reinforcing out of alignment posture. One more activation breath. Inhale, press down. Hold. Relax through the neck and shoulders. Letting everything go. Imagine that string pulling you long through your spine and the top of your head. As you start to tilt forward over your left shin, bringing your forearms down. Maybe even bringing your forehead down to your hands, just like we did in our tadpole. Notice the difference between your left hip and your right. Sometimes it can feel like you're working with two entirely different bodies. we say to that? That's interesting. Letting that ocean breath breathe you. Seeing if you can melt away any tension in your neck, your shoulders, anywhere else that you're contracting, you're flexing without knowing it. Where else do you do this in your life? When you're ready, planting your hands, inhaling, your torso lifts. Exhale, sitting onto your left hip, bending into your right knee, coming into our deer pose, our transition. With your hands, you can untuck the flesh of your left butt cheek, so we're sitting nice and tall. Sitting onto your left hip as a little transition, as we work to lift your right leg up and sweep it around in front, making the shape of a 4. Sole of your left foot to the inside of your right leg, anywhere, without grabbing it and torquing it back. Again, untuck the flesh of your butt. Press your palms down into the mat like we're doing a dip, lifting. Big inhale, press down through your legs, long through your spine. And as you exhale, tilting forward, that string pulling your spine long. Tilting forward over your right thigh. You can take your yoga strap or your belt here underneath the arch of your right foot, just give you a little bit of leverage. You don't need it. Big inhales, press down through your legs, long through your spine. Hold for that moment. And exhale to release into it. Like you're going to lay down over your right thigh. And those hands can come to the shins, or just the ground, or the foot, or even binding. Remember, we're not trying to force ourselves or grip ourselves into this. Just a loose grip on wherever you are. Inhaling, pressing down, long and strong. Exhaling to relax. Inhaling, long and strong. Holding. Letting it go. That string still working to lengthen your spine. Gravity, the center of the earth, still weighing your whole self down. One muscle at a time, letting go of anything that you're still holding on to. That's interesting. Hello, bee. I am not a flower. Feeling your breath through your belly, your back, your left and side ribs. And if you can't, try and find a depth or place within this posture where you can feel that breath again. If you can't breathe, you can't relax. If we can't do that, we can't let go of tension in our muscles. And when you're ready, inhaling back upright, planting your hands into the mat by your sides. Just withholding any desire to move, to react. Just notice the after effect of this head to knee, this Janu Shirshasana. And as our movement, sitting onto your left hip, sweeping your right leg back behind you into your deer, planting your hands out in front of your left shin as you roll back into your pigeon. And when you're ready, sweeping your left knee back to meet the right, withholding any movement here. Just pause. Notice the after effect of this whole complex. And then if you need it, if you feel inspired to take any movement, take what you need. Maybe some side-to-side rocks with the hips. Maybe even some cat and cows. Or some fire hydrant circles with your legs. Or your left leg, since that's what we've been working on. And once you feel ready, gently making your way onto your back. Laying down flat on your back with your knees bent, soles of your feet planted. And just like we did in tadpole, pulling the rib cage up away from your hips. Zipping your front ribs in. Taking a big inhale, floating your feet up off the mat. And as you exhale, hugging your knees in towards your chest. When was the last time you gave yourself a hug? Today. Haha. And see if you can squeeze your knees towards each other, imagining a rubber band around your ankles, squeezing them towards each other. Try to stretch the rubber band apart, coming to neutral in your hips. A little bit internal rotation, ankles away from each other. Setting your arms out to the sides to a T, taking a big in-breath. And as you exhale, releasing your legs over to the left-hand side of the mat. Grounded through your right shoulder blade. And maybe you decide to scoot your left hip back just a little bit towards the center of the mat. Stacking your right hip over the left without force. Maybe you take your left hand over your right thigh here. Imagine that you could wring yourself out like a towel. As you inhale, grounding your right shoulder blade as you try to twist your hips left even more. Holding, feeling the expansion to the right side of your ribs. And as you exhale, just let it go. Breathing in, grounding your right shoulder, twisting your hips to the left. Holding, wringing yourself out like a towel. Exhaling, letting it go. One more time. Inhaling, twisting that torso right as you twist your hips left. Holding. Letting go. And then just allowing gravity to pull you down. The ocean breath to do its work. If you want more, you can always straighten out your left leg beneath you. Allowing that right thigh to come across your body a little bit further. That's interesting. When you are ready, gently unwinding yourself back to center, letting the soles of your feet on the mat, back to that bent knee position. Withholding any urge to move, just noticing the after effect of this posture. And if you feel inspired, taking any organic movement that feels right to you, maybe you're going to drop your knees over the right windshield wiper before inhaling them to center and releasing them over to the left. Whatever feels good. When you are ready, I invite you to hug your knees back in towards your chest, giving yourself a big hug. Finding neutral through your hips, knees close, stretching the rubber band apart between your ankles. Send your arms out to a T, grounding through your left shoulder blade. As you exhale, releasing your legs over to the right hand side. Maybe you decide to scoot your right hip back, stacking the left hip over your right. Bringing that right hand over your left thigh. Left shoulder blade grounded. Let's wring you out like a towel for 3 activate and release breaths. Inhaling, grounding your left shoulders, you twist your hips to the right. Holding, breathing into the left side of your ribs. And exhaling, letting it go. Inhaling, twisting torso left, hips right. Holding, expanding your rib cage. Exhaling and letting it go. One more time. Big in breath. Holding. Letting it go. Settling into the ocean breath, feeling gravity just pulling you down. Bless you. Let that progression straighten your right leg out towards the bottom of your mat. Allowing that left thigh to come across your body a little bit more. How much can you release here? When you are ready, gently unwinding yourself on your inhale, back to center, rounding your feet, knees bent, withholding any movement, just allowing yourself to rest here. Noticing the after effect of this posture. Noticing the sounds and the space around you and around me. And if it feels right, I invite you to take any organic movement that works for you right now, anything that your body's wanting. And when you're ready, releasing your legs out long beneath you, letting those muscles relax. Releasing your arms out to the sides as we relax into our final posture of the day, our Shavasana. Imagining what it would be like to relax through your forehead and your jaw, through the tiny muscles around your ears, what it would be like to feel your ear canals relaxing, deepening towards the back of your mouth. The relaxation spreading through your mouth, your teeth, and your tongue, all the way up to the top of your head. Feeling your breath so deeply in your throat, relaxed. It's almost like it's flowing through your heart. Feeling the center of the earth pulling your whole body down with just a little bit more gravity. Like you're sinking down into the mat. Allowing yourself to go wherever you need to go here. And when you are ready, reaching your arms out overhead for a big, long stretch. Your fingers to your toes. Noticing if you're going to knock over a water bottle. Exhale, giving your knees a big hug. Noticing any toddlers knocking on the door next to you. And when you are ready, roll into your right hand side into a fetal position, resting your head on your arm or your hands or pillow. Just breathing into the left side of your rib cage. Feeling the after effects of this whole practice. And only when you're ready, using the strength of your arms, keeping the length and the alignment, make your way up to a seated position, to any seated meditation position that works for you. Crisscross applesauce, the easy pose, Sukhasana. Untucking the flesh of your butt, your shins, your ankles. Strong through your foundation, your hips and legs, and long through your spine. Inhaling your arms out to the sides and all the way up overhead. And exhaling your palms together into heart center. As we close today's practice, as we say, in yoga, I see myself in you, I see you in myself. Namaste. Thank you so very much for being here. This is a run through of a reset and release practice, what we spend the first 4 weeks of Men's Yoga Transformation doing. Letting go of all of our things that we're holding on to in our body, our muscles, all that tightness, but also in our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, because all of it is tied together, infused with a little bit of modern science, PNF, activate and release stretching. It's a potent strategy for letting shit go. So if you like this, drop it in the comments. Let me know what worked really well. And if there's any areas that you feel like you need help, also drop down there, because I will reach right out to you and assist you with that. Oh, hey, I time traveled. And if you're a dude and you're like, wow, it'd be really cool to immerse myself in this, in Men's Yoga Transformation, and live this system, rather than just showing up and doing a class and experiencing the transformation that results from that, just drop it in my comments. I'm always accepting dudes for the next round of Men's Yoga Transformation. If you like this, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. They need to relax too. And you have an awesome day. Bye.